The purpose and function of the record that accompanies this book is to establish the relationship of film mechanics to the musical examples. In those examples that deal with click tracks, 2 bars of warning clicks will be counted off to start the cue. The click track will then be re-recorded over the music so the auditor can hear the actual click track and the music that has been written for it. In the case of free timing cues, a warning count will be used to allow the auditor to start his stopwatch and time and conduct the cue with the music. The first example, 13A, is a 24-frame click track. On the printed example, the clicks are numbered every bar, and above them appears the timing in seconds. The explanation of what this cue hopes to achieve has been given both in the cue sheet and the paragraph that explains this example. There will be 2 bars of 24-frame clicks counted off to start this cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The second part of this example, 14A, is a 9-frame click track starting in 3/4. The explanation of this example has been detailed in this chapter. Pay particular attention to what happens to the click track in bar 19. 2 bars of 9-frame clicks in 3/4 will be used to start this cue. 1, 2. The third part of this process is the combine of examples 13A and 14A. This combine is achieved by building the first part, example 13A, on one reel, an A reel, and the second part, example 14A, is built on a second reel, a B reel, the first 46 seconds of which are filled with blank leader. The dubbing or re-recording mixer sets the level of the start of 14A to correspond with the level of the hold at 46 seconds of example 13A. Then these 2 reels are recorded simultaneously from a common start mark. The 2 tracks overlap each other at 46 seconds, and the following re-recorded effect of continuity is achieved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Example 15A has been described in great detail. This should give you some idea of the click-track flexibility available to you. Keep in mind that whenever you use this device, you must make a frame layout for the music editor. This is the only way you can ensure the results. This cue will start with 2 bars of a 12-frame warning click count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. This cue, example 17A, is designed to be recorded with stopwatch. The principal timings, dialogue, and action are notated on the score. Notice that in the last half of bar 10 there is a safety valve hold that enables you to take dead aim at the critical timing of 33 2/3 of a second. 2 bars of count will be used to start this cue. Use your stopwatch and conduct through this example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. Example 19 is a free timing cue that illustrates the effect that orchestration has on tempo. This cue starts at 40 seconds. Pay particular attention to what happens at bar 29 when triplets are introduced instead of eighth notes. Set your stopwatch to 40 seconds and start after a 2-bar count. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Example 21 is designed as a picture cue. The streamers and punches are laid out carefully on the score. Notice that at bar 8, the time value of 5 seconds per bar has been indicated, and the punch at bar 9 guarantees it. There is a slight pressing ahead to the downbeat of bar 10. Once again, the punch tells you where you are in relationship to the streamer coming up at 37 2/3 seconds. 2 bars of count in 3/4 will be used to start this cue. The auditor can check this example with a stopwatch. Notice the complete freedom from the feeling of bar lines, especially in the beginning. 1, 2. Example 23A has been designed as a picture cue. The auditor can check this cue with stopwatch. A detailed description has been given in the book, and what remains is to conduct through this cue and get the feel of free timing. 2 bars of 4/4 count will be used to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Example 24A is another picture cue. It must be stated that it is easier to conduct a cue to picture than to stopwatch. A visual streamer takes at least 2 seconds to cross the screen, and this gives you some leeway to hit dead cues. This example illustrates the amount of latitude that picture cueing gives you with tempo changes. Example 24A has been detailed in discussion and should be checked with a stopwatch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Example 25A is a combination cue involving clicks and free timing. This cue starts with a click track that runs 26 2/3 seconds, at which time the clicks stop and picture scoring takes over. There is a rallentando in tempo, the agitation in the orchestra decreases, and the cue continues slowly and quietly under dialogue. When the necessity for a click track is over, you simply stop it and continue in free timing with picture cueing or stopwatch. 2 bars of count will be used to start this cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Example 28A is the first of a series illustrating overlaps and combines. Keep in mind the A and B reel concept. This first example is the overlap from click track to click track. These click tracks may or may not be related tempo-wise. Inasmuch as we are only interested in the overlap, the downbeat of bar 154, we have only printed the last 4 bars of this cue. 2 bars of a 7/2 click count will be used to start this cue at bar 151. 1, 2. Example 28A Part 2 is the next cue in this overlap series. This cue starts at bar 1 in a new but related tempo. The click track for this piece of music is a 14/4 click, twice as slow as the previous section, but in a 12/8 feel. Please note that the downbeat of bar 1 is orchestrated relatively the same as the downbeat of bar 154 of the outgoing track. This duplication of orchestration makes the overlap very smooth. 2 bars of 14/4 click count will be used to start this cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. The third example in this series is the combine of example 28A and example 28A Part 2. Once again, the cues are built on A and B reels to overlap at the downbeat of bar 154 of the first cue. The re-recorded combine sounds like this. 1, 2. Example 29A illustrates the use of the overlap from free timing to free timing. 29A starts with a click track. You will notice that at the downbeat of bar 79, click 3:04.5 at 1 minute 54 3/4 seconds, the clicks stop and the cue goes to free timing. This allows us to make the rallentando in bar 80, so we can hit the streamer for the overlap at 1 minute and 58 seconds. We will use 2 bars of a 9-frame click count to pick this cue up at bar 74. 1, 2. Example 29A Part 2 is the second part of this overlap series. You will notice that at the downbeat of bar 1, there is a timing of 1 minute 58 seconds, which corresponds to the timing of the downbeat of the last bar of the preceding cue. The orchestration once again is duplicated, with the exception of the addition of a harp figuration on the incoming track. This cue continues on in a free timing mode. A 2-bar count in the tempo of the first bar will be used to start this cue. 1, 2. The last example in this series is the combine of the preceding 2 tracks, example 29A and example 29A Part 2. The mechanical process for building the overlap is the same as before. We will use 2 bars of a 9-frame count to start this cue at bar 74 of example 29A. 1, 2. Example 31 involves clicks to free timing. This cue is clicked out to 51 2/3 seconds, but you will notice on the score that the start of the overlap is at 45 seconds. From 45 seconds to 51 2/3 seconds, the incoming cue overlaps for 6 2/3 seconds, and what you have in effect is 2 tracks going simultaneously, one starting as the other dies out. The reason for doing this was that the director used a long dissolve of 10 seconds to take you from a car traveling a freeway in Tokyo to the tall pines at Nikko Shrine. We will illustrate the first part of this cue, example 31, by starting with a 2-bar count in the tempo of an 11/2 click track and pick up the cue at bar 17. 1, 2. The second part of this series, example 31 part 2, starts at 45 seconds in free timing, takes over the track at 51 2/3 seconds, and continues on for some 4 more minutes. 2 bars of count in the tempo of the first bar will start this cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. The third part of this series is the combine of example 31 and example 31 part 2. Notice the lingering overlap from 45 seconds to 51 2/3 seconds. In the basic track, example 31, a high pedal was reached at 45 seconds and tapered out as example 31 part 2 started. When you wish to make this kind of smooth overlap and give the impression of continuity, you must set your effect up with compositional and orchestral means. This example also illustrates the A and B reel concept with 2 tracks running simultaneously, as opposed to the record industry where you cut one piece onto another. Here we really can achieve more than one sound at a time. We will start with 2 bars of click count in an 11/2 click, picking up at bar 17 of example 31. 1, 2. Example 32 is an effects overlay track. You will notice on the score that it says to play 3 times. In actual lapse time, this cue lasted some 27 seconds. Playing it 3 times gave us a little over a minute, and then the 2 ends of the track were spliced together, forming a loop. This loop was run indiscriminately through the scene against the playing of a flamenco guitarist as described in the book. A further reason for demonstrating this overlay effect is that the orchestra was recorded echo return only. No original signal was used. The effect is ethereal and glassy and works with practically anything. 2 bars of click count will be used to start this cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Example 33 illustrates a different kind of overlay. If you will look at the bar breakdown in the book, you will see that the light flashing on and off, which was a story point, fell into rhythmic patterns that would be impossible to translate musically and accurately. The solution was to record the basic track first, which is example 33, and then make the 10 light flash effects separately and cut them in on a B-reel. The first track you will hear is the basic background track, which was recorded to a 19-frame click. 2 bars of count will start this cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. The second track in this series are the 10 light flash effects. The final track in this series is the combine of example 33, the basic track, and the 10 light flash effects, which have now been cut into sync. 2 bars of click count will start you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 4. Example 34 illustrates double tracking. In this particular cue, both tracks were recorded separately, but to the same click tempo. It is not necessary that the 2 tracks match tempo. In this cue, however, a common tempo was better as it made the transition more subtle from double track to single track. This cue went on quite a ways, alternating between these 2 tracks. Sometimes the rhythm track carried the ball, sometimes the overlay track carried the ball. And eventually the overlay track went into a straight scoring cue as the menace grew. You can use any combination of clicks or free timing in double tracking, as long as you have the total effect and organization of what you want to achieve in mind. You will first hear the basic track. 2 bars of click track at an 18-frame tempo will start this cue. In these cues, we have not dubbed the clicks over the music because we feel it necessary for you to hear the simplicity and the relative independence of each track before you hear them combined. 1, 2. The next part of this series is the secondary track, which becomes an overlay. Its character and tonality are entirely different. This is done deliberately to maintain its identity while the primary track is playing. 2 bars of an 18-frame click count will be used to start this cue. 1, 2. The last example of this series is the combine of tracks 1 and tracks 2. 1, 2. Example 36 is a scoring cue that accompanied 2 people walking and talking. It was recorded to clicks to give the orchestra an easy pace. Note the effect that the clicks had on the strings at bar 40. It forced them to play with a feeling of time that was not written into the orchestration. 2 bars of click count will start this cue. 1, 2. Example 39 is a scoring cue that goes in and out of dialogue. Follow this one with the cue sheet. 2 bars of count will start this cue at 2 minutes 39 and 1/3 seconds. 1, 2.
Something to me. I feel so new.
Because you were new all the time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dio Ti Benedica.
Don't thank me, okay? Just don't thank me.